Hey, welcome to Tanglewood Recording. I'm John Morris, and we got just a great tune today that came out of my studio, Tanglewood Studios. And today it's just a very cool tune to mix. It's kind of complicated, there's a lot of tracks. Where it's drums, we have percussion, we have some special effects, we have keyboards, we have bass, saxophone, and flute. The first one today uses saxophone. And so anyway, let's take a look at the tracks here. And you can see it starts off. Let me just pull this down just a little bit so we can take a look. So we have saxophones in here, and this is the 80K, which is my favorite microphone, and it's just an incredible microphone. We have this on the saxophone, and also the Shure 330, which is a vintage microphone. Miles Davis, the famous trumpet player, loved this microphone. It's a long neck ribbon. The 80K is a condenser mic, just a great microphone, and has its own power and switchable fields right there at where the engineer is, not in. You know, sometimes we have to get up and go and switch the fields till we find that sweet spot. So, and like I said, not in this particular track, there is also a channel open for the flute. We have a just different synths over here, the piano, the calliope, a lot of different things going on. Here is our bass, and then we have another keyboard track, and then finally, let me move this over a little bit, we have drums here. So let's take a look at this drums, the typical for Tanglewood, which is a bass drum. Not used today because we mix a little differently at Tanglewood, but not a compressed version is sent out, but just kick, bass drum, snare. There's that compressor again, and a special reverb for it, but we're not using that either. Hi-hat, tom 1, 2, and 3, overhead, left and right. Okay, also in here we have the percussion mics, and we got a few mics on these. You can see we got an AKG 3000, we have another ATM mic, and another a 57, a real standard, and we got like 4 or 5 channels on this because some of them were used for overdubs, so that they weren't happy with the percussion, so they went back and recut it. Okay, and then we're winding it down here. Here we have a delay bus, which we're not going to use today. We're going inbox. And a couple of shakers. Those were in overdubs as well. So this is a big project. So where do you start on a big project with this? And the answer is you start with the drums. That's the house. You build the house and the image so everything looks and sounds good to your ears because you're used to hearing the drums in a room. So let's go back, and we've done a couple of things on here, I hope. We're going to put on, put solo up, not the bass compressor, but the snare, then the hi-hat, and tom 1, tom 2, tom 3, overheads. And so let's just listen to those drums right now. I'm gonna add a little more volume to these to get some clarity. This is basically the intro here. To do it, jazz uses a lot of intricate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's basically an 11 beats in a measure, but we like counting it in 6s and 5. 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. but we're hearing that. Here's the kick over here. Let's strip that back a little bit and start with the kick. Probably the most important tone. And we're going to get up here a little bit and do a few things with it. So there's the kick. Now, just to let you know, and all kicks are compressed. So we're going to use the BF76, which is a good, you can see it here now. This is probably one of the best that you can get your hands on right now. Let me move myself down a little bit here. I can move myself all around. And this is 4-to-1 compression. This is the ratio. And we can add a little more body to that. Yes, yes. And now that bass is really popping pretty good right now. Okay, good, good, good. Now, what we want to do next is EQ that. So we just put a compressor in. Now it's time for that 7 band. A lot of my students are familiar with this. This Pro Tools came up with this, and this is the lower frequencies, 20 to 50, up here to 100, 1K, that's 1,000. 5K, 10K, 20K. Basically 20 to 20K is our hearing range. That's why it's there. You don't see 10, you don't see 30K, because that is the range that we hear. Now, if you're up in 13K, the dog would howl, but we don't hear up there. So what I like to do is we're going to go up and use, this is a shelving, so it goes down and gets all of the frequencies. So you just added some more bottom on it. We can go for some sub. We don't need 100. We need probably right in their frequency there. A lot of times we'll pull, you know, the middle out. Pull the middle out. All this zooming and every stuff that I'm doing. And then basically we're going to add, let me see if I can get this to continue on here. I'm going to add just a little bit of high end for, this is added on the high, this is what basically an octave V on this particular EQ for the kicks. Yeah, see how you can hit a little bit of click with it? Now you hear the head sound. So now that is really cooking with gas now. Good, 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 good. And we are going to get rid of that now. So we're doing pretty good here. Let's go. Yeah, you know what? Actually, he is not playing his snare drum right now. I don't know what's up with that. Let's go find some toms, and we got to go to find those toms. We got to move this back down to find. Let's put some toms. Let's take a look at this. Yeah, we got the hat going. Maybe we might add a little high end to that hi-hat before we get up into that. Okay, we're going to go get another EQ a little bit. Now, we're kind of listening. It's okay to listen to that kick in there while we get the sound. See, you can now hear the high end go up on that. You don't want to go nuts with this EQ. I mean, if you get extreme, and I never go above 6 dB. See how this works here? I just explained to you how here is 0 dB, here's negative, but there's positive. And I'm gonna, usually you get it up to where you like it, but then bring it down a little bit. Be conservative when these EQs are very powerful. Okay, that's good. We got that hat happening. there's that. Now we got one of the toms in. Tell you what we need to do. We need to add some stereos spread to these. So let me get. Oh darn it! Let's start this again. We're gonna get all three of these toms up. Let's get that hat in just for fun. See, isn't that fun? Now, if you're listening to a tom, the viewer's perspective, that hat's going to be over there. Let's look at that. Let's listen to this tom just for a second. It's kind of weak. We're going to actually go after it with a little bit of and add some fatness to it. Let's get no. We're in the bus. Let's get out of there just for a second. Get back up. So we're going to add a EQ on this tom. Make it a little bit. This is the bigger tom. Let's go and restart that. All right, this is coming along. The drums are going. A lot of times I'll get drum tracks in the studio that we have to fix, but we recorded these drums, and there's not a lot of work to do. I've even had other studios say, wow, there's nothing to do. Yeah, now, yeah, that sounded pretty good. Let's go over, let's get a compressor on this tom here. Problem is that tom has that cowbell close to you, so now you bring up that volume. But, you know, all of this is very good. Let's add the other. See, we have this pan left, and we're going to move this one right. Okay, that's coming along. Yeah, and there's no snare. Oh, there we go. Finally got a snare. Let's go work on that snare. It finally came in towards the middle of the song. Very good, very good. Okay, we're back off of that, off the snare. I'm just going to put a nice EQ in it, just to give that snare a little bit of bottom, down around 300 and up in there. Let's try that again. Okay, this is coming along here. We're getting a lot of the, I think we're just about done with we got the overheads. Let's see what we got here that we've worked on. We worked on the kick, we worked on the snare, we got the hat, we got tom 1 and tom 2. Let's get that hat back on. Boy, what we have that's missing, and I want to get everybody off now that this is critical. This is the overhead. And the overhead is a stereo image, so we have to put left here, then right. Yeah, see this, how it just expanded to the sound. Once again, these tracks here are so good. I don't have to put any EQ on them. It should be noted that British invented, you know, the great people from Great Britain invented the English. Invented EQ. Those are how we boost frequencies and subtract frequencies, because the engineer did not place the microphone correctly. And so that's the whole premise behind that. So anyway, if it's placed correctly, there's nothing to do. So at any rate, I'm going to go back and grab all the tracks now, and I think we're getting near the end of the first segment. Our first segment is going to be percussion and drums here. That's what we've been working on, and I think we're doing okay. Wow, look at all those drums, and we haven't got to the percussion yet. So there is the bass drum there, and here's the snare drum. Don't need to do the dub on that, and looks like we have everything in here. Okay, let's review. Bass drum, snare, okay? Then don't need these. These are all outputs for another use. As a matter of fact, we don't need this reverb either. Hat, tom 1, tom 2, tom 3, overhead, overhead right, and there you go. We've got the whole thing. Let's listen to it now. And of course, this is the intro, and then the kick drum starts jumping in. Now, this is the general, it's kind of a Latin feel. These guys cover a lot of territory. As a matter of fact, this is Shinjuku Station, which is about a station in Japan. And there's a lot of cultures floating back and forth in Japan at any particular time. So you hear a lot of, Far East on the sax. You hear, this is Latin. Wow, these drums are sounding good. So now, see how we're using these solo buttons just to do that. Did you notice that bass is smoking hot? That's the way he got it. Look. Wow, that bass player is sounding great. We're gonna get that in the next segment. Right now, let's go ahead and mute this. And now we're getting into the congas here. We used a lot of mics on that. We got 3 of them. No. Hey, as a matter of fact, I'm picking up a little bit of noise on hold on, let's get a new so basically what I'm going to do is we're going to get these compressors in. Bam, there's that one. And actually this thing does not need a lot. We're popping in these compressors, and in the second segment I'm going to open with explaining exactly what a compressor does. I can go ahead and just tell everybody, see that it kind of levels the attack out. There we go, we're looking good. I don't really need this one. Okay, and one thing we need in here is some stereo spread. See me kind of moving these things, they lean it left and right. Let's talk just a little bit about, and go ahead and close out the first segment of mixing Diesel, this acid jazz bands, is we've now pretty much got a good EQ on all of the percussion and the drums. And notice again that the percussion is captured just perfectly. So we don't have to put any EQ on that. I'm going to hit one more. Once again, let's talk about in closing here what a compressor does. And it can be, it's used all over the place. Like in a vocal, sometimes somebody will get louder. I like to explain to my classes that that a compressor was invented basically back for baseball newscasters. And if you ever listen to a sportscaster, he's up and he's talking really quietly, like they're up. All right, they're up to the line of scrimmage. They're getting ready to go. He's back. He's doing. Oh, and then he's got 10, 20 touch, and he's screaming his lungs off at the end, but yet it's the same volume. That's what a compressor does. It takes all the stretch, you know, bam, it stops the voice from going up too loud and blowing the speakers. It helps the vocalist ride in the song without going on top of it or going down too deep. It makes it a nice level. And when you're listening to a song, it's a little different than in real life. You know, when you're standing back, things aren't quite as loud. Now you have, say, a microphone right 2 or 3 inches from the tom when you hit it. So you need something to soften that blow into a more of a natural listening experience. So anyway, hey, we've really, let's do one quick listen. This is too good to pass up for the drums. Let's make sure we go down with this so we can see the tracks. This has kind of gotten moved out of the way here, but let's, what we have to do, once again, we have to get up to where we can solo the right instruments. Bass drum, snare drum, hat, tom 1, tom 2, I'm going to take that mute off, tom 3, overheads, and then take a look over here. We already have the percussion up here, the left and right of the percussion. We got 3 mics on it. Wow, there is basically 10 mics, more than that, 11 mics just on the percussion. All right, let's top this, then let it ride on out here, and here we go. Let's listen to this. There's the intro now. Bum, 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 bum. So it's a very delicate little start here. Let's get to where we can see what the tracks that matter. I'm going to get rid of this so we can see those tracks a little better too. Move the transport up. Yeah, hear how the percussion is in there now too with the drums. Man, they have a driving drum sound. So anyway, just want everybody to enjoy this track. This is the end of segment 1 and just a great kickoff into a big mix. Kind of the mixes that go down at Tanglewood Studios. So have a great day, and be sure to get credit for the whole thing. You got to snag Section 2 on this as well. Thank you very much. And we're signing off here. I'm going to stop my screen recording.